Alright you guys, so I'm recording this actually before the Arrma Limitless V2 comes in the mail. I actually want to get everything uninstalled from this Limitless, the version 1, in preparation for that new one coming in, so that all I have to do is unbox it and then I can install everything into the version 2 Limitless. So let's go ahead and get started with what we're taking out of this one to transfer over to the new one. So everything right now is kind of in a custom position. The motor is in a flipped motor, right, or flipped motor mount, so it's flipped the other way. And the ESC and servo are on this custom plate here. Now the version 2 Limitless should be able to accommodate all of this equipment in the stock locations for the version 2. So I'm going to go ahead and take the receiver cap off, unplug everything, take the receiver out, unroute all these wires, take the motor out, ESC, servo, and then the front and rear locked differentials. Now the version 2 uses the GP5, which is a bigger gear on the differential side, so that the central drive line is actually spinning slower at the same wheel speed. So we'll get the differential out just to remove that scorched locked differential section, but we'll still be able to put the newer gear on this. It'll make sense once I get it taken out. Alright, so I know it looks like a mess in there. I'm going to grab this other screw real quick. So, like I said, I know it looks like a mess, but this is just so I can easily connect to the castle link so I can read the logs. But, of course, the only thing we have in here is the ESC connector and the servo. Now, this servo wire was extended in order to reach all the way back here, but now I can actually reduce the length of that once again, since the receiver is going to be up at the front of the car. I'll use something like this. You can use a flathead if you want to in order to pry up this receiver. One thing I'll have to remember to do whenever I reconnect this, because this motor is going to flip back around the appropriate direction, I'll need to go into the XLX2 software and reverse the motor. Alright, we'll just take the grub screw out from the antenna, and then I'll put this cap back on. Now we'll shift on over to the ESC. Before we do that, let's go ahead and clip these zip ties here. And there you can see the extended servo wires. We're going to unplug our sensor wire here. We'll unplug our sensor wire. And again, the tape underneath the ESC is really, really strong, so just be careful. You can see I had a strip here and a couple strips around here. But I'm going to go ahead and unplug the motor. And you can see around here, I actually have a couple pieces of shrink wrap down in there just to kind of help cover up that exposed metal. Made me feel better about it. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this stuff here. And if you guys are wondering, because I know some folks do ask, these custom pieces, the battery tray, servo, and ESC mount, and the side skirts, there's only one on this one because the other side broke, were all made by a company called K Customs, and unfortunately they are no longer making those parts. But with the new Limitless version 2, may not need any of those custom parts. Well, there's always going to be a need for custom parts in the RC world, but at least not immediately evident right now. Alright, so that's been removed. I set that over there. Now we'll go ahead and just remove the servo from this mount so we can reuse that. We're not going to use this servo arm because the new Limitless will have one. Alright. Now it's just the motor, because these drive shafts here are not going to be able to be used in the new vehicle because of the position of the motor mount in the new vehicle. So Ross Schifrin, I believe he's going to be making, he's got to be making some new ones for the new vehicle. So I'll be on the lookout for that, and as soon as I see that, I'll purchase it, install it, and you guys will see that on this channel as well. Alright, for this, I think I'm just going to flip this over and heat up these bolts underneath here. Move it so y'all can see this. So these 4 bolts here for the spool mount, and then this additional bolt here as part of the motor mount. I'll just get all that heated up and break that loose, and this whole thing should be able to come off all at once. I mean, you can see just how many scuffs and marks this chassis has been through. Okay, 1 second. And be very careful if you have to do this with a socket like that. Wear some eye protection, because if that snaps, that could fling out and hit you. Alright, now that that's broken loose, I can do the rest with the drill. And I'm going to hold the motor on the other side. Set that back down. And now, I can hopefully slide this in such a way where there we go. Turn that sideways, both drive shafts pop out, and there you have it. And in case you were wondering, if you're watching this video, 31 tooth on the pinion and 39 tooth on the spur. Right before I crashed, got us 158 miles per hour. Alright, so I'm going to pull these drive shafts out and actually set them in my drawer. These are very, very nice. Don't want them getting messed up or just sitting in a roller that is not being used. So set these in here, and we'll just be waiting patiently for Ross Schifrin and his new one. So now we've got to get to the front and rear differentials. I'm going to clean up a little bit first though. I've got stuff kind of all over, so I'll be right back. Alright, so getting to the front differential. And we might have the nuts on the other side falling off. There's one. Comes out of here. Pop out. There we go. And from the top. Okay. So we'll just set this nut back in here, and these screws go over here, because all we needed to do was to get to this differential here. And so now we'll take the sway bar off, and then from the back side of the arms where the sway bar connects, get that screw out. So these shocks have got to spin out of. Here we go. Now I can take that up and out of the way. So all that just to get to this cover. Now this cover should come right off. There we go, just like that. So now we can lift this out of here. One of the shocks being out of the way, we should be able to take one side out just like that, and there is our locked diff. So as you can see here, this gear is interchangeable, but there's not a differential here. It's all locked. This is made by Scorched RC. Same thing with the cups here. We'll go in and check the bearings, make sure those are good, and then this will go into the new vehicle with the gear swapped out, of course, to the GP5 gear. Now for the rear, it's essentially the same thing. You're going to take the wing off and the wing mount, take the sway bar off, move one of the shocks out of the way, take the cover off, and then take the locked diff out. So I'm not going to show that, but it's the same exact process here.